Welcome to Creative 10 channel. Today we are going to talk about stash busting projects for the extra yarns you collected over the years. We are going to show you some project ideas and using simple stitches so it can be a mindless knitting. First, you can organize the yarn by color. I have a lot of odds and ends. Some are smaller, some are bigger, and different weight of the yarns. And I like to sort it out by color. And one of my major color category is blue. And the other one is more pink. And I also have a category for neutrals, like gray, white, black, and brown. Now I'm going to combine all the yarns by winding them together because they kind of match in color, so they can go well together to create one bigger project. I start with the toilet paper cardboard and cut a slit so I can insert my beginning yarn there. You don't have to use any cardboard to start. You can just start winding. If you have a yarn winder, that will be useful too. And I just pick out two thinner yarns together first. The thicker yarn can be by itself. This can create a thin and thick yarn. Some will be thinner and some get thicker. That can be part of your design. When I'm winding it by hand, I just try to rotate a little bit at a time so all the yarns are not in the same spot. The next question is about the joint. There are many different ways to join yarns, and there's a magic knot method. The other popular one is a Russian joint. And you can also sew the ends together on a sewing machine or by hand sewing. Just sew a few stitches back and forth. You will be very secure and you can cut off extra yarn ends. Here I'm showing the Russian joint. You start by crossing the two yarn ends and thread one end with yarn needle. And then go back to the same color yarn. Try to thread the needle through the center of the yarn. So you might need to move around the yarn and try to insert it into the center, maybe for 1 inch, 2 inch, or longer, depends on your yarn. After that, pull the needle out, and that should close the yarn on one side. And we just repeat the same on the other side of the yarn, and then cut off the extra. And that should be a very secure joint. But this method works better with thicker yarn. It's harder to find the center of the yarn with the thin yarns. Here are some simple stash busting projects you can consider. The first one is scarf or infinity scarf. The second one is blanket, throw, or baby blanket. The third one is a pillow cover. The fourth one is wall hanging, and the fifth one is an area rug. When the yarn becomes very thick, you can create an area rug or wall hanging. Most projects are straightforward. You can use basic stitches and adjust your size easily. Here are some simple knitting stitches you can use in any of the projects because they are reversible and it can be a mindless knitting project. The first one is a garter stitch. You knit in the front and also knit in the back side. It's a reversible stitch and the knitted piece tend to get a little bit wider and shorter, and this can take a little bit longer to knit compared to the stockinette stitch because it's thicker and more dense. The second stitch is a ribbing. You can have 1 by 1, 1 by 2, or any combination. This creates a fabric that's kind of reversible, depends on which kind of ribbing you use, but the knitted piece will get more narrow compared to the stockinette stitch, so it also takes a little bit longer to knit. The third stitch is a seed stitch. It's the alternating between the knit and purl stitches. And this is also a reversible stitch. You will look identical on the front and back. And the knitted piece will not be shorter or narrower like previous two stitches. So this is one of my favorite choice for a quick stash busting project. And I'm going to make a seed stitch scarf with the yarn I just winded. The final yarn is about worsted weight or bulky weight, so I'm using 6mm size knitting needle and then cast on 33 stitches. If you cast on odd number of stitches and you knit back and forth, not in the round, then the beginning stitch of every row will be a knit stitch, and also the end stitch will be a knit stitch. So that makes it very easy to remember, and it become a really mindless project. And you can see the repeat. Some will be bigger area, some will be smaller. This is an interesting yarn. I don't think they make it anymore, but it has a different texture. Some are thicker, some are thinner. And you can create an interesting pattern design just by any simple stitches. And I'm doing a basic crochet here. You can use any of the crochet stitch, single, double, triple, or any combination. It doesn't really matter. It's your choice. If you want to make your repeat shorter, you can do that when you are winding up your yarn. You can even cut it and then place it back in a certain interval when you feel it's long enough or short enough. So it can be very fun to design your own yarn. Another stash busting project idea is to just knit in a round with all knit stitches, and we can close the end or connect the ends to become an infinity scarf. This will work better with thinner yarns because you will be double layered. So those are some ideas you can try to reduce your stash. Thank you very much for all your support in the past year. It helps the channel grow much faster than I expected. I really appreciate that. We are going to post video every Wednesday night instead of Tuesday night. It seems works out better this way. Thank you for watching the video and see you next week.